Greetings, comic book fans. Welcome back to the Dude Cave. I'm Jason, and you are watching Comic Book Opinions, the video where I share with you my opinions on things comic book related. Today, I'll be talking about some more of the books that I've been reading recently. Not reviews, just brief opinions on each book. So here we go. We got another stack of books that I got last week. So I think it's about that time where we suit up, because it's opinion time. So let's get straight into those opinions. And first up, we have Inhumans vs. X-Men issue number 5. I believe this is the penultimate issue of the series. I found this a frustrating read only because last issue, the new Inhumans kind of realized or found out why the X-Men are doing this back, or why the X-Men are going to such extreme measures that, you know, their very existence is in threat. And so they were kind of questioning, what do we do now? And so this issue, they decide to help the X-Men to, you know, to deal with the Terrigen Cloud. But then they team up with some of the X-Men, but then in going to where they need to go to, they end up fighting the rest of the X-Men who still don't know what's going down. And they just fight. And I was like, well, surely you just say, look, stop. We don't want to fight you. We know why you're doing this. We want to help. And we haven't got time to be fighting each other. Time is precious here. You know, we want to help get this thing sorted out. So I kind of found it frustrating that they were just blindly fighting. But that's just me. I just found that frustrating because I thought we'd kind of moved past that in the story. However, the story does seem to be building to a conclusion nicely with all the different elements coming together. With the royal family now all kind of free and heading back to Earth from Limbo. So I thought, so it does feel like we're going to get a good final issue, but this issue I just found a bit of a frustrating read. On a side note, I must say I'm not a big fan of the Inhumans, but I do like the new Inhumans, and if they ever decided to bring out a book with just the new Inhumans, you know, the characters like Miss Marvel and Moongirl and Mosaic and ISO, if they had those characters on a team, I think I would definitely buy that book because I like them newer characters. I'm not as into the older characters like Medusa and Black Bolt and Gorgon and Karnak. All those characters, I'm not so into them. So next we have from DC Comics is Batman Detective Comics issue number 951. This kicks off a brand new story arc called League of Shadows. Again, I love how DC have that on the top of the cover there. As a collector, it makes it so easy. If you want to get some back issues, you can like look for the story, so you can get all the parts of that story. But also, if you've got your comics in your comic box, and you decide, oh, I just want to read this arc, you can go through it easily and pick out all the issues from that arc. So I really like what DC are doing there. I think that has been a fantastic idea. I wish, you know, other companies would take up on that, because I think that's really good. Anywho, this just remains my favourite Batman comic. It is brilliant. It's Batman with his team of heroes trying to defend Gotham. And this issue introduces a new character, Lady Shiva, who represents the League of Assassins. No, sorry, not League of Assassins, League of Shadows, sorry. And I believe this character, I remember, I've never read anything with her in, but I remember her from the pre-New 52. So I don't know, have we seen her before, since they kicked off everything with the New 52? Have we seen her? Has she been in any books since they relaunched everything? I don't know. Is this her first appearance? I don't know. But she is badass here, and she's going to be some threat for the team to take down. She sets up Batman, so like they think now they're kind of after Batman, which is kind of similar to what's going on in Green Arrow, with him being set up. And it seems to be pretty easy to set up the heroes to look like villains. But even with that, I still loving this book. It's just brilliant. It's the most consistent run that I've ever seen James Tynion IV has. And he really seems to be growing into a great comic book writer. And this book has just been superb. The mix of characters, I love. Even though we've lost Spoiler and Red Robin, they've added Azrael and Batwing. And they're making those characters interesting. And yeah, I just love it. Everything about this book, I just love. The building threat, the way the stakes seem to keep rising, the complex things that are going on between the characters. You got the whole thing with Batwoman and her father, and then you've got like the fact that she's related to Batman, and yeah, it's just a whole real complicated situation. I just really love this book, and if you're only reading one Batman book right now, um, this is the one you need to be checking out because it's definitely the best Batman book on the shelf. Next up, we have Extraordinary X-Men issue number 19. This is another Inhumans vs X-Men tie-in, though it kind of feels this issue does is that like Jeff Lemire feels that this book's coming to an end and he wants to kind of complete some of the stories and finish things off. But then, editorial are like, oh, these issues need to be tied into Inhumans versus X-Men. So he's kind of trying to do both. And I felt that's where this story didn't quite work. But I feel also it's not, I don't think you can blame Jeff Lemire because it's probably editorially they've told him, look, we want this to tie into this, and he knows he needs to tie up loose ends. So he's tried his best to do the two, but I didn't think that really worked. I thought it was a bit of a stretch tying it into Inhumans vs X-Men. But the story, this issue deals with Magic and with Snapna and kind of concludes their story. And overall, I really like Magic. She was a character I never really cared that much for back in the New Mutant days. But I really like, since reading like the stuff they've done with her in recent years. First I think it was Uncanny X-Men, and then now with this Extraordinary X-Men, I think she's become a really interesting character with the Soul Sword and everything. So this from that point of view, it was interesting and seeing her deal with the situation with Snapna, a situation she feels very guilty for. So that was interesting, but overall, I just felt trying to tie it in didn't really quite work. So next up from Valiant Comics, we have Divinity 3, issue number 3. And this was the best book I read this week. It was just absolutely superb. So, don't be put off if you've never read Divinity before. The book is so well written, it gives you all the information you need to be able to follow the story. If you can get the first two issues, get them, because it's been a great miniseries so far. Next issue is the last issue, because Valiant always just do 4-issue story arcs, which works really well in that there's never any wasted time. There's never any kind of like, oh, we've got to keep things balanced for an issue and kind of just weighed on without really moving forward. Every issue, the story is moving forward. This issue, we get answers, because basically what's happened in the book is that the world has been changed and that Russia is now this superpower that rules the world. And this issue, we learn how that happened. We learn who done it. Our heroes, where last issue it looked like things were on the up for our heroes. This issue, they're back in peril and things are looking really grim by the end of the issue. I just absolutely loved this. This was just brilliant. I love alternate history anyway, those kind of books. I just love how the changing of one event can kind of change the way things spiral. It spirals and it can change how things go. So I like so the fact that we've got that in here with like the alternate history, that already got me on board. But then kind of like adding in the stuff from the previous Divinity books with the characters, this has just been brilliant. I absolutely have loved this, and like I say, best book I read this week. Then we've got Curse Words, issue number 2. Wizard dealing with kind of the consequences of his actions in the first issue. This issue is very much where the first issue kind of introduced the characters and set up the situation. This issue gives us a bit more meat on the bones as we kind of build to kind of these other wizards coming to get Wizard. This issue kind of introduces other characters, gives a bit more backstory to some of the characters. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. Like I say, it puts a bit more meat on the bones, and the book is still really good. My favourite character remains Margaret the koala bear, and I just love how nobody brings up there's a talking koala bear there. Everybody kind of just treats it like like it's just a person or something. So I love that, and how the way they've never even addressed it. I think the first issue she was a rat, and then when they jumped to modern day, she'd become a koala bear. So I just love the whole thing of like nobody ever kind of mentions. It's kind of like in Star Wars, and nobody ever mentions that Chewbacca's naked. That he's been in like there's been 7 Star Wars films, 8 if you include Rogue One, but like 7 proper saga films, and he's been in like 5 of them, and he's been naked in every single one he's been in, and nobody ever mentions it. Nobody ever brings it up. And it's the same. I love that here with Margaret, that nobody ever brings up that she's a koala bear. So that's brilliant. But yeah, a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying that book. Then we have Justice League of America issue number 1. I was kind of trying to stay away from this book because I think it's a fortnightly book, and I didn't want to add another fortnightly book to my pull list. However, I picked up the Rebirth issue. Well, first off, a dude on Twitter, Phil, he picked up the issues, he recommended them, so I'm blaming Phil totally for this. But I read the Rebirth issue, I enjoyed that, and I looked forward to getting into this, and I enjoyed this as well. This is very much takes place right after the Rebirth issue, as the teams come together. They're still very new. They're helping people like put out things like fires and stuff, but then these aliens come called the Extremists that they've got to take down. The Extremists, their world has been destroyed, and they're looking to save the Earth, but they save the Earth by turning it into a dictatorship. That freedom is kind of the thing that killed their world. So Batman has to go with the Justice League of America to take them on, but they're still getting used to being a team, and some of them are still getting used to being heroes. So it kind of is a bit it goes as you would expect it to, with this inexperienced team going up against this unit that are used to fighting together. I love this issue. The art is brilliant by Ivan Reis. The story builds nicely to some great moments, in particular when the Extremists are introduced and when the Justice League of America show up to take on the Extremists. Build up to a nice double page spread there with the whole team. The writing here from Steve Orlando is really good. I like the characters. Even Lobo I found bearable. He's not one of my favourite characters, but I like the mix of the team. For me, Killer Frost remains the most interesting character in the book. But overall, like I say, I just really enjoyed this. I thought it was really good. And yeah, I've done it. I've added another fortnightly book to my pull list. Next up, we have Hulk, issue number 3. Every issue I read of this is a really quick read, but I always really enjoy it. I love the whole thing of, she's clearly got she's clearly dealing with this trauma still, and she's clearly haunted by the things that have happened. The death of her cousin Bruce Banner, killed by somebody she'd worked with, and Hawkeye. Also dealing with the fact that she was beaten to a coma by Thanos. So she's dealing with all these things. It's changed how she is, she is a She-Hulk, and she's been human now. I like the fact that we're not seeing She-Hulk yet, that we clearly get that she's different now as She-Hulk, but we've not seen that, and they're building to that, so I'm liking that. This person she's trying to help is very interesting as well, and there's something interesting going on there. So all in all, yeah, I think there's a lot of great elements here, and this is one of those books that I think you could introduce She-Hulk in a movie, and then you could do like they did with Civil War 2, with Hulk getting killed and her getting beaten into a coma, and dealing with the trauma of that. And this could be a TV show easily, where she doesn't Hulk up that much. That most of the time she's a lawyer. I think it could work. I think that would be an interesting show. They could do it on a budget like Netflix. You could do it. If she only hulks up, say, a couple of times a season. But I don't know how people would take to that. But anyway, I'm really enjoying this book, even though it's always a quick read. We have The Visitor, How and Why He Stayed, which I really enjoyed. This is the first issue. This alien comes down because he sees Hellboy as the destroyer, and he stays behind to watch over Hellboy to make sure he doesn't become the destroyer. An interesting book, fun. It'd be interesting, the bits with Hellboy, are they all bits from Hell? Because I've not read all of Hellboy, and so I recognise the first bit, but like the latter bits, are they all from Hellboy stories? That'd be interesting. I can imagine that would make the book even more enjoyable if you're a long time Hellboy fan and read all those stories and seen the reminders of those stories in here. That would be cool. But either way, even as somebody who hasn't read them, this was a really fun book, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it's going to go. We then have Teen Titans issue number 5, which I'm just really loving this. I loved that rather than everybody fighting, they managed to talk the bad guys round, which I really like. That violence isn't always the answer. That sometimes you can solve things with just talking. So I kind of like that. I like the effect that the team are having on Damien. Um, that like basically he's just a lonely little boy who's been raised to be this killer assassin, and each of the Titans has their own kind of thing that they've had to deal with. So I like that together they kind of have that friendship, and he's finding in the Titans a friendship he's not ever had. So I'm liking that, and we get a cameo from Batman as well, which was really cool. And yeah, I enjoyed this. I thought this was really good, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing where this series is going to go. And finally, we have the Avengers issue 4. Is it 4? Yeah, 4.1. I love how they have like the retro logo, and we have like the little box. And even inside, the way the book is introduced is kind of like in the old school kind of language that they used to use in comics. So I like that. This it continues the story with Captain America and the new team of Hawkeye, Quicksilver, and Scarlet Witch. Sorry, um, they have a rematch here with the Frightful Four, which I thought was really cool. The art is really good in that it's kind of got that modern take, but it's got also kind of an old school kind of style to it. So I like that. For the art really balanced well. The story's really good. As a shocking conclusion that I'm just really intrigued to see where we're going to go from here. But yeah, this has been a really fun trip down memory lane, and it's really been well written, and I've enjoyed these point one stories with the old Avengers teams. That's been really good. So that's me done for another episode. Uh, you get no episode for 4 months, and then you get two in 2 days. It's crazy. Hopefully, I will be back sometime next week, possibly talking about the books I've read over the past week. I'm gonna attempt to keep these videos at the most. They'll be fortnightly. At the least, I would like them to be weekly, but I'm not sure if I will be able to manage that. So at the very least, I'll try and make these videos every fortnight, just to catch up with what I thought of the books I've been reading. Thank you very much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Hope you all have a great week filled with comic book goodness. Leaves me to say, I've been Jason, and you've been watching Comic Book Opinions. Keep reading, and bye for now.